All right, we are live here. I'm Zach with Fifth Quarter College Football. Greg Peterson with Huskers Online. We're gonna talk Huskers. We're gonna try to. Um, Another loss, 23-20. Greg, initial thoughts?
Geez, Zach. I mean, what what do Husker fans say? You left it all out there. I mean, there's so many opportunities that kind of laid by the wayside there. Kind of heartbreaking as that game goes down to you have it, you have it won, and then oh boy, you give it up and it goes into overtime, and uh, I, I I'm at a loss for words with what I saw there going down the stretch. I mean, I think Nebraska did. I mean, they played a hell of a game, stayed right in there. But boy, what do you say about the end of that game? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there really is anything. 15 yards in the second half for Michigan State, 5 possessions, and they win the game because of a punt return, a ball not punted to the right side.
Yeah,
And, I listened to the post game and Frost was talking about it. And, it's just so bad because if you're angling a punt and you're a college punter, you just got to kick it somewhere over there.
I, yeah. It's just unbelievable that you can allow that to happen and have a guy just return it down the sideline with nobody there on that side. I mean, just punt the ball down the middle of the field if you have to. Why are you trying to angle anything? I don't know. The kicking game, it just always seems to come up right now and bite you in the ass at every possible place that it can happen. I mean, Connor Culp actually is making field goals tonight and stuff, and you're thinking that things got fixed in the kicking game, but no. One play just turns that game completely on its head, and I don't know. I'm not. I seriously, I'm not very happy about going to work on Monday morning and going to the Monday press conference. Last thing I want to do right now, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I see a lot of people in the comments, and I mean they're basically saying the same thing you are. It's gonna be tough to go to work because it's gonna be the same press conference over and over. There's not much more you can say about these dumb mistakes that keep losing you games that you have won. That you like today is just a perfect example of a game that it could not have been more in your hands. It was over essentially with the
Yeah.
way that defense was playing.
Well, and we've seen. I mean, we know now that Nebraska has a real defense. Okay, this defense is going to keep you in any ball game. You saw it last week at Oklahoma. You saw it tonight. Two ranked opponents on the road that you actually had on the ropes, and stupid, dumb mistakes keep you from being able to seal the deal. So obviously, yeah, the defense is here. You don't need to talk to Eric Shenander coming up this week. Ask him about problems on defense. No, we know right now. Nebraska's defense is one of the top units in the country. I don't care statistically or what have you, but they're going to keep you in any kind of ball game. And if you get a little bit out of your offense like you did tonight, but then you piss it all away on stupid special teams plays, and I guess you get what you deserve. I don't know much more. What more can I say about it? I mean, two weeks in a row, your special teams let you down in big time games. That cost you points that come out in the end to bite you in the ass.
Yeah, and the worst part is it's something. It's not a few. It's not one mistake.
It's different, something different every week. That's the biggest pain in the butt about it.
Yeah, and it comes like you look at the Oklahoma game and it was kicking and it was a lot. It was several instances where it changed the whole game because they lost by 7. And today, it's 7 points. It should have been more, a 7-yard punt, and that we ended up blocking the field goal just because they couldn't get the snap right.
Yeah.
But it's something that's not a minor mistake that may have costed you that one game. It's happening over and over and over, and it's the same thing. It's the special teams, it's the offensive line. And yeah, I wanted to ask you your thoughts on what you think of this offensive line, because it seems like game to game they aren't getting any better.
That, I mean, Zach, seriously, that is the biggest question, because you've got an offensive line that you come into the season with, and you're very, very confident, and week in, week out, they keep letting you down a little bit. And how many times have we talked about finding an offensive identity, which is run the ball, and you need that offensive line to be that foundation of that. And every week that we've come into this, every week we come into this. I mean, it's like, all right, offensive line's young, but they're big, they're talented, and they're going to get the job done. But you know what? We're not seeing that progression out of the offensive line that we expected. And part of what I'm saying too is that we don't want. Why are we going to make excuses about it being, with their age and their inexperience? At some point here now, we've all played some college football here. We've played 4 or 5 pretty meaningful games, and yeah, we need to see some progress. We need to see this offensive line need to physically take over games, because I don't care who you are or where you're watching it from. You got a big, massive bunch of guys on your offensive line, and sooner or later, you got to make that count. You need to start pushing guys around it and take over games. And we saw it a few times there. Like in the second half, Nebraska's, they're punching out 5 yards at a time on the ground, but then all of a sudden there's a stupid penalty or something that knocks you back and erases that progress that you just had. So, it's just bizarre what's going on right now, and you really want to see Nebraska take some steps forward, but I think we keep seeing them take a couple steps backwards on that offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, the pass blocking was the biggest thing today. That has seemed like it's been run blocking for the whole year. They have not been able to do their job run blocking, but it seems like, as you get into a little bit better competition these last 2 games, you've started to see the pass blocking mistakes. Martinez has got to keep that ball tucked away in the pocket because there's hands all over him, and it seems like countless times during that game where I know he made the big mistake on his fumble late in the game. He just held on to it too long, but that seemed like the one time he actually got time because he bought himself time, and it seems like he's doing 2 jobs out there. He's trying to read a defense, and he's trying to buy himself time.
Yeah, I'm really at a loss for this when you're trying to analyze the offensive line. And, I mean, you bring in some bodies, and a lot of bodies that are impressive. And I don't know. I mean, if there's heads on the chopping block, I hate to say it, that Greg Austin's head might be that number one head on the chopping block if you're going to have to make some changes there on the coaching staff moving forward. And he's a guy I respect completely as a coach and as a man, but something's just not clicking there, and I don't know. I wish I had an answer. I really do.
Yeah, I think you look at the strides the defense has made, and they're putting together
unbelievable.
Yeah, and you've been sitting here, thinking when Nebraska can get better and start to come back a little bit. And then you look at how this defense has performed this year, and if you were told this before the year, you'd be thinking 4-1, 5-0. Like, you would be thinking somewhere in there, because this defense has played good enough. Besides game 1, they've played good enough to win every other game. Hands down, like, really, really good. I mean, that second half display, There was nothing. Kenneth Walker is probably the best back in the Big Ten. Nothing today at all. There's no holes at all.
Invisible. Yeah. Yeah.
And
No.
it's so frustrating with the special teams as well. I know Frost in his post game, he was talking about the hidden yards in the punt game, and he thought that they backed off a few punts and let them roll for 20 yards. And it seems like in the punt return game, at least, and I don't know if this is something that we're seeing, in other areas too, but they're scared to go up and catch the ball. They don't want to make a mistake. Now you're playing scared instead of going and trying to make plays. That's how you lose games.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I mean, in my mind, and when I grew up playing this game, and you want to be aggressive. I mean, um, just trying to play the field position game. Like I think they're just trying to tell guys to stay away from, trying to field something because they're scared of making a mistake or something. I just really don't know, but I don't know. Like I'm saying, I mean, you want to play aggressive, and uh, I want to attack at every possible moment. If you're asking me, so I mean, any kind of a punt, something, I'm going after. I want to get a return on that thing, unless you got to be smart. If it's down deep, then let it go and go from there. But this whole special teams thing is just it's such a quagmire right now that I can't even wrap my head around one aspect of it or another at this point because, like we were saying, it's something different every week. You think you have it licked, and then there's something else that goes haywire the following week that you didn't even expect.
And it's like the little things too. I noticed, after Michigan State got that penalty post the punt return, you got them kicking off way back there, and then you drop the kickoff and you have trouble picking it up, and then you get out to the 20. That ball's got to be starting on the 35 minimum.
Yeah, I mean, you should have been on that zone in and grabbed it on the fly, and yeah, that's a pretty good kick return right there in my book. But yeah, everything it seems like like you're right. I mean, it's tentativeness. Everybody's like a little bit shy to just take it and go, and that's not the kind of football that I was growing up. Being taught when I was growing up and when I was playing. And I don't know. It should have been another win for Nebraska. And what do
No,
you think?
you see the improvements. He talked about in some areas. Ramir Johnson ran it well tonight. I thought he ran hard,
I
and
did too.
he's been doing that time in and time out. He's been running way harder than we've all seen in the past. He looks good. You got Omar Manning and Betts out there making some plays. There's talent. The tight ends are good. We know that. Touré's good. And Martinez has just been, I mean, I think he's overwhelmed with how much he's being asked to do. But he's not going to act like it. He just is. Yeah, he just is. He's getting overwhelmed because not just running and passing, but dealing with this offensive line that's a disaster. They can't deal with any shifting on the other side or else they move immediately. And it's just I'm with you. I know I watch these mistakes over and over, and I got people texting me about how it's bad coaching. And look, it part of it's on coaching, but I think it's also some of it you got to sit there and look at the players and be like, they've been told a million times, don't, we got to snap cadence, go on the cadence, and why? It's got to be so frustrating on both ends. That's what I don't understand. That's what other people need to understand too, is that it's both sides. But the good thing is there's a ton of players on this team that are absolutely playing their tail off on that defense, on offense. There is.
And I don't. I'm going to be the last one to try to make excuses for anything, but I mean, you did have you're coming off of two road games in a row in hostile environments, and tonight on the road during a nighttime game. Uh, like I said, I'm not making excuses, but maybe some of those jitters they had or what have you that caused a lot of those offensive line false starts, and you can go back to 2 weeks in a row with that being the key factor and stuff. But it's so hard to pinpoint anything. And when you bring up Adrian Martinez, and I guarantee you that he's the last one that's going to go out there and point fingers, to anybody about the performance. He's gonna take it all on himself. He's gonna take the brunt of any kind of criticisms that's happening and stuff because he knows it's his team. It's his offense, and Nebraska goes as he goes. And I don't want to put words into his mouth, but I will quote Nebraska quarterback commit Richard Torres, who was injured and out for the year, but he knows that he has subpar players on his team, but he says, "Hey, those are my guys, and that's who I roll with." And I think Adrian Martinez would tell you the exact same thing. And he's going to go to battle with those guys again next week and every week until it's all said and done with. And I don't know. I still try to take positive things out of tonight's loss. It's another loss to a ranked team, and I think most people that watch that game would probably agree that Nebraska is a more talented and a better overall team than Michigan State. But you know what? It is what it is. Michigan State's 4-0, and Nebraska's 2-3.
Yeah, and I think when I checked the box score after, I think the biggest thing that I saw was, double the yards. Michigan State 1 of 10 on third down. Like, it was disgusting how good that defense was.
Yeah.
One mistake early on in the game, getting beat. Miles Farmer got beat on that deep ball. Besides that, nothing. Like, there was it just maybe one blown coverage here and then for 20 yards, but it happens to the best defenses. That defense is really good. I think Ramir Johnson is a good part of this team as well. That's something that's shining good for them. In the wide receivers, you've actually seen improvement for the first time in years, maybe? I'd say you see some improvements there.
Yeah.
It's the little things. Now we're starting to, have less problems, but the problems, some of them just keep stinking, and you can't deal with it any longer because it's getting old.
Yeah, God, you and I both hear it from people week in and week out about complaining about it. And oh boy, at some point you need to fix these problems. And like we said earlier, it's not even it's not the same problems over and over. It seems like they find a new problem week in and week out that they need to deal with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the most frustrating thing I think as a Husker fan, because the talent level is there. You've got the best receiving core you've ever seen here, I think ever. Jeez. Dating myself, I go back to the 70s, and I've never seen a receiving core, tight end core like this. You've got an offensive line and a defensive line built for the Big Ten, like you never have before, and you've got a lot of talent there at the linebacker spot and the secondary. You can go on and on and on, but sooner or later, this is all got to be put together and start to be a well-oiled machine and start winning games instead of coming close every week. So I don't know. Do we need to hire Merlin, the magician, or something to come in here on the staff? I'm not sure right now, but we know the talent's here. We just need to put it all together.
Yeah, that's definitely there, and the size of the team is something that's it's built up for this. It really is, and that's why it's starting to show that. That's what's the frustrating part about the offensive line too, is you're starting to see the size and everything. You're starting to see the team come into form and fit in the Big Ten, and the offensive line's much bigger and more talented, supposedly. And now you watch them play and you're like, what is that? Like, they just get burned on both ends. And then the guard play has not been good enough as well. You've had problems with it's all of it's a problem at this point. And that is something that is just extremely frustrating because you really don't know where to go with it because this team just loses by this little bit. And it's just on this dumb things. And you'd hope it can get figured out. I don't know what changes have to be made, if any, right now. I don't know if that's something, as a 2-3 start to the season, if you do that. But I'll tell you what, that offensive line and that special teams, those are the two groups. If they're better, Nebraska's a lot better of a team. And also, the biggest position group that has surprised me this entire year is the linebackers. Reimer and Heinrich have been fantastic.
Out of their minds. Yeah.
Absolutely. They have played fantastic. That D-line, okay, look, they don't have the pass rushers really. Garrett Nelson, I thought, got a little bit of pressure today. He played well. Yeah. But other than that, not a ton of pass rushers. It's a bunch of big dudes ready to stuff the run in the Big Ten. Yep. And they're still getting to the quarterback. Secondary has played well all year. This is what's starting to get frustrating, is that it's this O-line that had this big mentality coming into the season that we're going to go in there and smash people. We want to run the damn ball. Well, where is that?
Hey, we've been asking this ever since Scott Frost got here. Weren't they supposed to be scoring 35, 45 points a game coming from that UCF offense? And we just have not been able to see that. And you see right now, when you watch this team, they have a defense built. They have a defense that will stop you and keep you from scoring more than about 28, 30 points a game. I don't care who you are. And you have an offense that's built to score points, but you're not scoring points. So, yeah, it's so hard to say right now. And I want to be optimistic and keep trying to say, hey, we're going to lean on a defense right now that's going to keep us in every game. But unless you can just eliminate these mistakes, and that's what it all comes down to right now, is mistakes on offense, where you got some weapons, you got so much capability to strike, but you keep shooting yourself in the foot. And you can't win football games when you keep doing that. So, it all comes back down to hard work during the week, and I don't know what they're doing that they need to start doing differently. But obviously, we need to see some changes here going into the next weekend on that offensive line.
There's a comment right there. I'm going to make the O-line hats that says, wait for the hike. I mean, it's been ugly. And there's no doubt. I don't know even what to say. I've seen a bunch of people on Twitter that keep saying, make them run. I mean, like that's going to do anything. I don't know. It's just right now, I mean, that the tackles have talent, and Ben Hart and Turner Corcoran, but there's been nothing. They've been slow. And I don't know if it's technique, and that's why that's something, Frost has got to evaluate, like you're saying about Greg Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to say that there's a problem with teaching the technique, because I see day in and day out that is there, but I don't know. There's just something lost in the translation right now, where you go back to any offensive lineman that ever played at Nebraska and is a proud member of the pipeline. I think to every man right now, if you would ask them, I don't see the effort there that needs to be there, or I don't know. I don't know how long you can make the excuse of age and lack of experience. Like we said earlier, I mean, you're 5 games into a season right now, and I don't care if you're a true freshman or if you're a second year freshman that's or a super senior or whatever. You played enough games right now to know what it's all about. My God, come to play and play clean and please eliminate the mistakes and maybe games turn out in a more favorable manner than they have lately.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think that something has got to go their way with how the defense is playing. But if you keep making these little mistakes, I don't know, because if it's 7 points last week from 2 easy missed field goals and a missed PAT, and if it's 7 points this week, if your defense keeps holding them to 20 and you keep giving them 7, it's tough to win because the offense just isn't all clicking there without that O-line. That's why you keep seeing the same 23-16, 23-20, and it's going to be around there unless the offensive line figures it out.
Always bet the under when Nebraska's involved in the game.
You have to. Let's see. I actually was reading about this today. The Presbyterian coach who goes for it on 4th down if it's at his own 15 every time. It's actually an awesome story. I don't know. I think they lost 63-43 this week, but it's actually crazy. They'll be 4th and 15 at their own 8, and they're going for it. No punting and only onside kicks. I don't know if that's going to do anything. It ain't going to win you games, but it's just
no faith in your kicker.
It's tough to it's just tough to see 2 punters at a major Division I university that can't do anything right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've all been around, or even when we were on our high school football teams, and everybody wanted to be the kicker, right? I mean, how many dudes were out there kicking after practice was over, just trying to get something in there. So kind of bizarre with that story there. You kind of got me off. I'm thinking back to my old days. Tell coach, hey man, I can kick too.
100%. You had to each time.
No, we need you. We need you over here. We don't need you as a kicker.
Yeah, I was actually going to send that punt to one of my buddies in high school was the punter because he said he was the best punter, and he went out there and had a negative 2-yard punt once. So, I kind of wanted to send that to him today and be like, hey, it looks like you. But no, I don't know.
You know what, though? I will. I'll share this that it's kind of like on the same wavelength as this. That a couple weeks ago, I was covering a game, a very small Class C1 game in Nebraska here at North Bend, Nebraska. It's North Bend Central is the high school, and I was there because Pierce was there, which has Nebraska tight end commit Ben Browmer on the team, 2023 tight end commit. But I was kind of dumbfounded. The same thing was happening. That every time North Bend Central kicked off, they would just dribble it down. They wouldn't even try to kick it deep. And the newspaper guy there was telling me that, yeah, this is a new coaching staff, but the old coaching staff did the same thing. They didn't care if they had a kicker or not. This was their philosophy where they would just kick it and give the opposing team the ball at about the 45-yard line every time. And I was just like, I was dumbfounded by that. It's like, why would you do that? And I guess, I don't know, they're set in their ways. And that turned up to, that's not a good thing. Why would you give your opponent the ball with the field every time? But that's what they do.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. I did want to ask you, are you still, do you still believe in Frost and the staff? Or what are your thoughts on that?
No, I absolutely do. There's kind of like what I ventured at a little bit earlier is that following the year, you might be forced to make a change there on your coaching staff with one or two spots, and I kind of just singled out Greg Austin as that. I think his head's on the chopping block with that, but yeah, yeah. Bottom line is, who else are you going to bring in here? If you fire Scott Frost, I don't know where you go from there. Who can you convince to come in here and think that they're going to have a decent shot at anything? And, I'm very close with the staff and everything. And I think that this is a very outstanding staff. Really, top to bottom, I don't see any problems with it. And I mean, you start running out of the excuses about time that they've had here after this year, and you need to see progress. And boy, I mean, if you end up the way the trajectory's going right now, I mean, yes, you played better, but you haven't come up with that W yet, and especially in a year where the West looks like it's wide open. Besides, Iowa kind of in the driver's seat right now. That this would be the time to go out there and strike. While you can, and if you can't get that done the rest of the year, then yeah, maybe there are going to be more coaching, staff changes on down the road. But bottom line, no, is you're invested in Scott Frost. You're not going to pay. You can't afford to pay $20-30 million, whatever the buyout is on him to get rid of him. And no, Nebraska just bottom line, Nebraska doesn't roll that way. They're gonna give their boy that kind of do. Okay, you get rid of Mike Riley, you get rid of Bo Pelini. They're just not Nebraska guys. And you look at it, that your AD is now Trev Alberts. You look up and down the board with Nebraska's hierarchy or tree in the athletic, all the athletic sports, and you got a bunch of former Huskers in all those positions right now that know what it's like to play for Nebraska and to win for Nebraska. So, yeah, anybody that keeps trying to question if Scott Frost is the guy or not, I think that's complete BS because he is the guy. You just give him the time, and eventually it's going to happen. I mean, what happened with Coach Osborne? What happened with Coach Devaney? Same thing. They didn't step right in here and start winning ball games right away. So I think let history play out, and if I'm an optimistic Husker fan, then I think good things are on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. And I think, I can't remember when it was after the Illinois game, I definitely was thinking, I was kind of mixed about it. And now that I've started to see this year progress, I think there's too many things that have been trending up for Nebraska as far as position groups that are getting better. I think there's too many things going up, despite the results not being what Nebraska wants, because there's a few major mistakes going on right now. The rest, I think that there's things going up. What the job that Barrett Root has done with those linebackers,
I say,
yeah, there's plenty of positive things on this staff. But right now, it's just the dumb things and losing these games by so little, because when you get killed in those games and you make a bunch of those little dumb mistakes, you don't look at them. But when you keep losing like this, that's the only thing that sticks on your mind through the whole week. Is look at that punt return today. Look at those kicks last week. It's that little thing, but I think that this staff is right. And I think when you listen to Frost's interviews, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's just angry. He's not the answer. Get rid of him. Well, he is angry because I'm sure he's stressing the issues over and over like any coach would, and they keep happening. So I don't know what I'd do in his shoes either. I'd probably be pissed off too.
Yeah, you know what? And it's kind of funny because this goes on week in and week out right now, and every Thursday that we get a chance, he does this Thursday press conference, and lately it's been going about 3 minutes, and you can tell that he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to talk to you. He would rather just get back to his team and worry about what's going to happen on Saturday. And I can't blame him one at all. I mean, yeah, I would be pissed off too because you look top to bottom with the team that you have and the talent that you have on there. You should not be a 2-3 football team right now. That's the worst thing about it. But all you can do is think positive and think forward. And if you don't do that, you probably drive yourself crazy. But let's work our way through the rest of the season and see what's happening. And you still have, you still have 4 ranked teams on your schedule. Well, we're thinking Wisconsin's still going to be ranked, maybe after today, but you still have a lot in front of you that you can still make a positive outcome out of this season and kind of get to where you want to be at next year. And I know Nebraska fans don't want to be talking about next season and stuff because it's 5 games into this year, but I think realistically, as you look at it, Nebraska just needs to win some games and make it to a bowl game, and then try to go into next season with some momentum and with a ton of talent. That's now has a lot of experience under their belt.
Yeah, and I see a bunch of people in the comments talking, about if the talent's there, then it's on the coaching staff. But I mean, just like I said,
you got to get some experience to have that talent, to go with that talent.
Yeah, and like I said before, I think that it's not like they go into the week of practice and they look at the O-line errors and the special teams errors and go, let's focus on the receivers and tight ends today. That's probably 70-80% of the focus in practice. Let's fix this O-line. Let's not make dumb plays on special teams. And what do? They keep doing it. Yeah, you probably need some better players in some positions, but there's a lot of things I think looking up for Nebraska in terms of you've got a defense, and I think you've got depth at defense that you've never had, and that's going to keep getting better and better. And look, under Pelini, Pelini could go win 8 or 9 games, but guess what? When they played Ohio State, they lost 52-10.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, they lose 65-20. This team can compete with good teams. The rest of the season, if they don't make a ton of mistakes on offense and have a couple pick sixes or whatever, they should be in every game, hands down.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you see a very, very proud defense. I don't care who you talk to. Garrett Nelson, he was a guy that was up there at the podium tonight after the game, and you know what? That guy bleeds, scarlet and cream, and that's the kind of the passion that these guys have. These black shirts right now know that they are an elite unit, and if they could get a little bit of help on the other side of the ball, things would be different. But they're not gonna go out there and make excuses one way or the other. And I think right now you have to hang your hat on what Nebraska and the black shirts can do right now as a unit. And maybe scrap out a few wins here down the stretch, and but like my point is basically to Nebraska fans is what you don't want to hear right now is be patient. Good things are going to come. Just be patient.
Yeah, and I think you never know if this offense is going to mainly the offensive line if it starts clicking later in the year. Because if it starts clicking and that defense is playing like they are, you don't know. You could go on a little run at the end because they got 3 ranked teams at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So the opportunities are still there. And whether people want to be super mad at the team and be giving up right now because they're 2-3 and they keep making the same dumb mistakes, yeah, okay, you should be frustrated with that. But there's a lot of season left for growth and to develop yourself for next year. When you come back on and you blame this loss on whatever next year, well, this is the time to build for next year and build for the rest of the year. You want to keep getting better each week. And I think that you mentioned it, you hit it right on with that defense. They're playing proud and they're happy to be black shirts over there. And
Oh,
they know that they're earning that tag right now with how they're playing. And they're doing all they can. They're going to be frustrated too because they're still losing, but they're doing all they can. And I think to see that joy on the field actually from a defensive unit at Nebraska it's really fun to watch for me.
and I expect. I mean, when I see those guys Monday at the Monday press conference, their heads are going to be held high. Because, like we just said, I mean, they're 2-3. Those three losses are all on the road, right? And they're winnable games. They were not. Nebraska has not been out of a game so far, and two of those three losses, okay, are to the number 3 and the number 20 ranked teams in the country. So there is something that they're doing right now. But yeah, obviously that problem is on the offensive side of the ball, and defensively, I could not be more happy and more secure feeling. Like you brought up Coach Rude earlier, he's got his guys dialed in, um, and Coach Tuioti's got his front guys dialed in, and they've got a great rotation out there on defense. I love what I'm seeing, and you know what I even last night I went and saw linebacker commit Ernest Hausman out of Columbus, Nebraska. He was here in Lincoln playing at Lincoln High. And I talked to him after the game, and my God, he is such a grounded kid too, and just loves what coach. I mean, he talks to Coach Rude, 3 or 4 times a week, and just loves what he's seeing out of that linebacker core. And just another guy they're going to add to the puzzle down the road, who's going to be an early enrollee as well. And yeah, I think the sky is the limit for this defense right now. Moving forward, I think you're just going to start seeing the whole country talking about Nebraska's defense down the road here.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to get better. I know that there's a lot of guys the secondary that are going to be gone after the year, what they can build on. But you look at the guys that are young behind them, and they're not really that young. They're just not as experienced playing a ton,
Right.
which is something that I think builds, I think the culture.
Yeah.
I know that there's been a big culture problem there. I wouldn't say that's the issue now. Now
No,
it's just
no,
stupidity on the field.
yeah, no, not at all. And I mean, and to what you're saying too is that it's a strange year that we're in when you have all these super seniors going on. You got guys like Deontay Williams and JoJo Dolman, guys that probably would have moved on if they didn't have this chance. And with them still being here, that hampers some of the growth on some of these other guys. But I guarantee you, Eric Shenander is going to make sure that those guys get in there and get some playing time when it's possible for them to get playing time.
Yeah.
And I love the feel. I love the guys they have on this squad, and moving forward, I think it's just going to be bigger and better for this black shirt squad moving forward.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm as frustrated with anyone with the losses, but when I watch the games, it feels like there's a different energy watching the games right now than past years.
Yeah.
And even with the losses, like we're seeing the same dumb, close losses that we've seen for years, but there's a different energy because that culture feels better. The defense is playing as one unit, and you're seeing positions that are getting a ton better. That's why there's a different energy.
No, I mean you're not just like we're not watching Nebraska go into East Lansing and get blown out. I mean, you're looking at a game where Nebraska should have won that game. You came down to the wire. Last week at Oklahoma, same thing. Nebraska's right in that game, and you eliminated a few stupid mistakes, and they probably win that game too. So, hey, things are looking up. The record might not show it right now, but I'm more optimistic right now about the trajectory of Nebraska football than I have been in several years. And that's saying something for somebody that's around the program day in and day out, like I am, and have to roll with the punches. That's what sucks is when you got to come in Monday morning after a loss, and you're expecting everybody to be down and just they don't want to talk to you and stuff. But I don't notice that right now. I mean, last week, those guys were pumped after what they did on the road at Oklahoma, and I don't see any difference about that coming into this Monday either, because I think they got to hold their heads high too, and they know that they're just this close to putting it all together and being a pretty darn good football team.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. Joel Klatt, his comment last week in his video was very interesting. He's saying they're close. This is a guy that knows football. Listen to the Fox broadcast. This guy is really good.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I really like that guy on his broadcast. He's super smart.
He's a Colorado guy. I'll give him a break on that.
Yeah, I think that they are a lot closer. And I mean, people are going to sit here. I see people in the comments that are commenting about the culture. Riley or Pelini left Riley worse off than Riley left Frost. Come on. It wasn't the Riley regime. There was players just skipping practice when they wanted to.
It's a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke what he took here. And he's been trying to build it. And yeah, the results have not been there at all. But the process is taking longer than he thought, and the process was far off. He's getting it somewhat there. Now just clean up the stupid stuff on the field. That's what it is. There's stupid stuff away from being a 4-1 football team.
Absolutely. I mean, you see the talent level has been brought up. I mean, notches and notches above what Mike Riley ever had here. And but Pelini inherited some stuff and did develop some defensive guys up and down. But right now, I mean, yeah, it is it's silly mistakes that are keeping this team down, and we keep harping on it that it's youth and inexperience, and you know what? The more games you play, the more snaps you get, the less and less that's going to affect things. And yeah, we just wait it out and see how it comes out, because I think that bottom line is the more you play, the better off you're going to be.
How would you? One last thing I wanted to ask you: how would you rate the play calling today from Frost and Martinez's overall game?
Play calling, it was kind of hard to say because you were playing against a very, very good defense, and I didn't come across that many times where I was upset with the play that was called. I just think the execution wasn't there. The execution was lacking, and I think Adrian's game. I think he did what he could do. Again, he had another clean game where he didn't turn the ball over unless he had to. And, I just had to work with what he had to work with. And, I would probably grade his overall performance about a B. Nothing was outstanding, but he did do some things that he needed to do to keep his team right in there to the end. I think until that last play there in overtime, where obviously it was a pretty bad mistake that ended the game. But the rest of the time, I was fine with his performance, and he did what he could.
Yeah, and Look, I thought that there was a couple route concepts that were too long developing. Like
There
they
was,
wanted to take a shot.
yeah.
And with this O line right now, you can't do that. But I know he's trying to push that because you want to take your shots.
No, he was looking, he was waiting. Yeah, no, he's trying to be patient. Yeah,
Yeah, and I did see the first play on overtime after it was like that 2 yard play. There was receivers open in that end zone,
there was
and I
a lot of times that there was receivers open that they missed on because one, either Adrian was starting to scramble around because his protection collapsed on him, and um, a couple there that were on the run that he just missed. But overall, I'm I'm not going to put any blame on Adrian Martinez whatsoever.
yeah, I mean, I thought the pick at the end. I wasn't even too sure that it wasn't on the receiver. I
Yeah,
mean, I thought that route was ran a little bit soft, and he kind of let the guy push in front of him. Like, you go meet him at that ball. That ball's at least not picked. I mean, granted, I don't know about the play call. That's a long throw to a slant way out there, and he didn't wait for him to get to the middle. That's a really, really long throw for a corner that knows that the end zone's right behind him, so he can play up pretty far. That was my only thing in question was the play call, but I just didn't think, again, I didn't think the execution was there from the receiver. I thought, Martinez's ball was pretty good there. He did miss some open guys during the course of the game, a couple high throws.
happened.
Yeah, and we're not sitting here saying he's the most accurate guy because he's not as a quarterback. But he is a damn good quarterback, and he's proven that this year, and he's played with a lot of heart. And his throws, he's never going to, be a prototypical NFL quarterback that is hitting 90% of his throws where they're supposed to be. But that's where he's special with his legs.
Right.
Extending plays, that's where he becomes special.
Yep.
So there's some give and take with it, or we'd be looking at the number one overall pick, and we're not looking at the number one overall pick because he has some issues with accuracy at times, but overall, the last couple games have been very clean from him.
Yeah, I think he has cleaned up those mistakes that we were all wondering about coming into the season, and it always comes down to you know what, he needs a little bit of help. You eliminate a few of those. Why was he in that position at the end of the game anyway in overtime? It's because they're trying to overcome a mistake, that put them into a fourth and long, third and long, and I mean, my goodness, how much do you have to harp over and over about these stupid penalties and just dumb mistakes that put you in a hole, and then you're expecting your quarterback to dig you out of that hole when he's trying to do everything possible to win a ball game.
Yeah,
And,
he's doing everything, and
we keep putting him behind the eight ball, and what do you expect?
yeah, I mean the offensive line protection is different. It's a different ball game, but it's hard to take those shots when you don't get a lot of time unless you're just throwing a true 50-50 ball up in the air.
Yeah.
And I know that the shots Nebraska's trying to take are ones that they're trying to take the shot because the guy has a step on them. They don't feel like they're equipped for the 50-50 balls. That's not really the offense they run.
No.
They have some size on the outside they could do it with, but that's not in the game plan. The game plan is simple, and I think that the scheme is right, and it's becoming better and better. You just have to block, and if you don't block, you don't win.
You don't see. I mean, when was the last time that you actually saw Adrian Martinez drop back into the pocket and have 3 seconds to, scan the field?
Yeah, if he did, he made the throw.
You're not seeing that. You're not seeing.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, I look at a team like Clemson. I watched their game today against NC State. Look, that offense is terrible right now, and people are trying to figure out what's going on in Clemson. They have 2 losses already.
Oh, no!
Yeah, they have 2. They lost to NC State, unranked. But the thing is, Clemson right now, when you look at them, what's their problems? They have the talent at quarterback. They have the talent on the outside. Their offensive line is playing terrible. It's the same thing. Oklahoma, their offensive line hasn't been that good and their quarterback play hasn't been good. That's why their offense can't get going. There's
Yeah.
a lot of offenses that are struggling right now.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness.
Some ones that were supposed to be untouchable. North Carolina was supposed to be that good. You look at them, they get beat tonight. They got beat in the opener. What's going on? It's sanity in college football right now.
Well, I mean, okay. Break it down. What we're seeing, in the Big Ten West alone. I mean, right now you got Iowa kind of running away with things because you see Wisconsin not be able to do anything offensively against Notre Dame. This is a defensive league right now. So I don't know. With a 2-3 record with Nebraska right now, they're not out of anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not time to hit the panic button. I think you need to look at a young team like Nebraska, and we keep pointing at the offensive line, which is very, very young. And the more they play, the better they're going to get. And
You would hope.
Yeah,
you would hope.
You would hope, yeah. But I mean, it's not time to hit the panic button yet. Is my point. And you see enough talent on that offensive line that I mean, there's just a few things you need to fix, and then all of a sudden, hey, you know what? This is a different season. So let's see what they do. Next week. Right now, you just put everything away. You forget about the first 5 games of the year. You start over right now, and you can play. You can play with anybody. You know that. You know that right now. You can play with anybody, and you start putting things together, and maybe you finish this year off with some positive momentum, and go into next season with a strong team.
Yeah, because you definitely have the opportunity to. I mean, the rest of the season is yours. It's easy to sit here and fold up, but there's a lot of season.
They're not going to fold up. I guarantee you that.
Yeah,
These guys are proud dudes. I'm telling you right now. And
yeah, I believe that. I can see it watching the games.
Pissed off than anybody that they're 2-3 right now.
Yeah, this is a team I could see, going on a run here at the end of the season because they, like I said, and you know it too. We both talked about it. The energy is different. It really is.
Big time.
And the defense is much better. I watched that Arkansas game today, and I sit here and wonder what's the difference between Arkansas and Nebraska. And I go, Arkansas's defense is really good. Nebraska's is really good. I go quarterback.
Game, huh? Yeah. How about that for a bowl game matchup?
Yeah.
Arkansas, Nebraska, that'd be I think.
No, I look at the offensive line of the two teams. That Arkansas offensive line moves people. They moved A&M today, who's one of the best defenses. That is the difference. Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah. Nebraska has the same talent, if not better, probably better than Arkansas. And
I agree.
Yeah, better quarterback.
And A&M. I will go out on a limb and say that too.
Yeah. What's the difference between why is Arkansas undefeated? Nebraska got 3 losses, offensive line play, and they just don't make dumb mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's why they finished their games and they beat Texas and A&M now.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't give it away. You don't shoot yourself in the foot and put yourself behind the 8 ball like that. You're never going to win any games doing that. Seriously, you got to clean it up. I mean, my goodness. I mean, any Nebraska fan watching is just like dumbfounded by the way that they keep finding ways to lose ball games.
It's different every week.
Yeah. And what do you do? I mean, I would not want to be a coach on that staff right now and trying to go through dissecting. What can we do? What can we change this thing? I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the season goes on. Next week, you got a game against Northwestern. If I'm not mistaken.
You better win. Seriously, you're back home, okay, against a team that is struggling. and against a team that you traditionally those games come down to the wire, I think this is the biggest time where you need to flex your muscle and just put Northwestern in the dirt in the first quarter and don't even look back, and then move forward from there. And I think this team really, that's what they're thinking about right now. It's like, okay, we're coming home. We got Northwestern. They kind of suck. Let's just pound the shit out of them. That's what they're going to do. That's what I expect them to do.
Yeah, I do as well. And I still never understand the people in the comments that always say like this position coach needs to go and Frost needs to go, but the rest can stay. Like it works like that. A new head coach comes in and goes, "Yeah, I'm going to keep all these guys I don't know." Like it's weird. That's what I'm saying with the strides. It's not that easy to just
No,
say, let's get Frost out, but keep every coach. Let's hire a coach in and tell him he has to keep
yeah,
all these guys.
yeah. Okay,
Right?
I love Travis Fisher, best defensive backs coach out there. Barrett Rude, best linebackers coach out there. Ryan Held, best running backs coach out there. Yeah, I mean these guys are all great. I love them. And bottom line is you got to get these guys playing the way that they need to play, and there's going to be somebody's head's going to have to roll if things don't pan out here. And bottom line, Scott Frost and his coaching staff are tight. They're a tight knit group. They love each other, and the last thing that Scott Frost wants to do is have to let one of these guys go. But I mean, if the season doesn't pan out here coming forward, then I'm sorry, somebody's got to go because that's the way college athletics work these days. And you got a brand new athletic director in Trev Alberts who knows how to get things done at Nebraska and to be a winning program. And that kind of pressure comes down from the top, like we said, and somebody's head's going to be on the chopping block. We know that. And it's not going to be Scott Frost. It's just not an economical or a very sound or smart move to axe your golden boy. But, wears the program on his collar day in and day out.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that this team is going to finish the season strong with the 7 games. I believe it. I know people are going to be negative the rest of the way.
Yeah.
But I they play with too much passion to not go on a little bit of a run.
Too proud to be a losing program. Absolutely.
And, at least we can hope the best for the rest of the way. But, expect to see a lot of these close games. And like you said, look at the under every time because it's going to be that way, at least for now.
Make money. Bet the under when Nebraska's playing.
Any final thoughts, Greg?
Well, Zach, obviously I know we're all disappointed in the outcome of the game. And I always hate saying, try to hang your hat on a solid performance. And, they didn't give up. But I think, like we've just been talking about, that good things are on the horizon for this team. Just keep on battling. And I think that, they're going to start finding ways to win games instead of finding ways to lose games. That's the biggest thing. Because we know that the talent level is there. They can play with anybody. And you need to get I'm not going to say like you just need to get a win, but you need to get one of these big time wins where, okay, you played number 3 on the road, you played number 20 on the road, and you come up just short both times. So sooner or later, you're going to put it all together. And I think the next opportunity Nebraska has, in the primetime spotlight, I think they're going to pull one of these out here and kind of turn things around. That's just the way I'm thinking. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, like people like to say. I've been a Nebraska fan my whole life, but I'm a member of the media and I'm supposed to be impartial. but I call it like I see it, and I think good times are, good things are ahead for this football team, and I think the bad times are in their rearview mirror, starting right now tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I saw a comment that said, "How many yards did Walker have?" Walker had 19 carries, 61 yards. He
Yeah,
got stymied. That
uh,
whole offense had nothing going.
yeah.
Yeah, they locked down Walker, and I was worried about his ability to make people miss. That
Walker,
was not the case.
Kenny Walker, who
Yeah, who?
I didn't know he was playing tonight.
Yeah, seriously, it did not look like they had a big time running back there tonight. He had
No,
nothing available, but
yeah,
hopefully this team can continue to build on the right spots and keep those, just right for the rest of the year, because good things are going to come. These dumb mistakes have to be fixed eventually. It's right now. Got to hammer that down if you're Frost and the coaching staff. But look, they are close. Who cares? I don't want to hear about moral victories. Moral victories suck. We all know they suck.
nobody. Yeah,
But
they don't want to hear that anymore.
yeah, on here, we're just being honest.
Yeah,
There is some things looking up,
absolutely.
and know that they're close. Hopefully the Huskers can get on a run here. It was great talking to you, Greg.
Yeah, hey Zach, anytime, man. I was always happy to come on and talk Husker football. Doesn't matter if they're winning or losing.
Absolutely.
It's in my blood.
Yeah, GBR.
Absolutely, for life.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You too, man.